I'm also a partner at a VC firm called Ayurtha Capital, and we invest into startups ourselves. But for this particular session, the focus is going to be think of it as a mock session. Some parameters that we'll put in place. We'll try and wrap it up from a pitch perspective in about, say, 10 to 15 minutes at most. The objective of being here is to listen what the other person has to say about what is it that you are doing, how is it that you are doing it, and everything else, right? So that's the short summary of it. And over to you. Please go ahead, Sudhakar.
Yep. So just a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm a civil engineer by profession. I'm a graduate civil engineer who did his master's in Texas A&M US in the year 2016. And I worked as a construction project manager in San Francisco for 8 years, and left my six-figure job, green card process, everything to work on this startup that I saw it was doing great in the North American and Canadian market. So, in short, WeMustCollab will be a managed marketplace for creators and influencers in the Indian market. So, if we are all up for it, I can go into the pitch.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. One sec. Let me start sharing my screen. Why isn't my screen getting shared? Only getting the pop out. Can you guys see my screen now?
Sudhakar, can you try again? Can you try sharing screen again?
1 minute. Can you guys see it now?
Yes, now again.
Okay, awesome. So Amiya, firstly, thank you so much for the time to hear me out. In short, WeMustCollab is a managed marketplace for influencers or content creators, and our primary focus is in the micro and the nano influencer space. And to be on a very high level, what I'm trying to achieve here is what Oyo did few years back, what Udan did a few years back, where a two-sided marketplace was going really great on the American and the Canadian market. They took the time gap and they tried to find an Indian ecosystem and space and users. So we do have a few international players who are in the same space for a few years right now, and they're doing pretty good. They're profitable. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the leap of leaving everything and coming here to work on this. So currently, the problem that we have in the influencer marketing space is agency domination. Too many platforms, which is very very complex and not easy to be used by a layman or a non-marketer, and an educational gap between both the brands, the individuals, and the content creators. Okay, so that is the major problem that I see in the market currently, especially in the Indian market space. And the solution that we need, I feel, is a free discovery tool, which can be a platform or a page or web app or anything as such, an enabler for these marketers or business owners or anybody who wants to connect with few influencers or creators. It has to be in such a way that it is in an ease of use, with an ease of use, and also bridging the education gap between a wannabe content creator and somebody who wants to run a influencer marketing campaign. So I feel that if this solution is presented to the current market right now, it's a good area to play with. And the current platform and the value proposition that we have is that, firstly, it's going to be very transparent with the profiles, the rates, the kind of work that the influencer or the content creator can provide, and how many revisions it can have, etc., like that. The second thing that I saw as a problem with interviewing many people in the space, both the influencers and people who wanted to conduct influencer marketing campaigns, is that there was an issue with the payment. So the platform will allow an escrow model for a payment, and also make sure that the payment is taken securely, delivered securely, and on time, so both parties who are engaged are really really satisfied. The other thing that I saw in the agency space is all these so-called influencer marketing agencies or talent management agencies have huge Excel lists, but they don't have personal connections with all these influencers because they're not able to give them continuous work. So they have a curated list of, let's say, 5 to 10 people. If I'm talking about a mid-size agency, 5 to 10 people who work on a regular basis with them, and all the clients who come to them for influencer marketing campaigns are pushed to only these. So there are very limited options, and there is no other route other than relying on an agency or a third party when an individual or a business owner wants to do some marketing activities related to an influencer or a content creator. So this platform will obviously increase the number of options, starting from the scale of influences to the geographical location, etc. And for the micro and nano influencers, getting a brand deal, doing anything in the space where they have to stand toe to toe with these big follower guys is really hard. And also vice versa, when it comes to small business owners, like for example myself, as I told you, I'm a civil engineer and I have another firm called Your Masons, which I do give construction services at. I wanted few influences to promote one of my projects, but for me to connect with anybody over Instagram or through an influencer marketing agency, they were not under my budget, or the small ones were not really available with the Insta DMs because it goes into their request section. So are we on page there?
Sure, please
Yeah,
continue.
yeah, perfect. Just wanted to make sure because it was awkwardly silenced. Yeah, yeah. So this is one thing that the prototype, I'm sorry, the platform can enable, is what we believe. And now talking about the market size and the market gap, everybody feels that it's a huge market, but actually not. It's a very slim market when it comes to you know the other markets compared in the Indian region. It's only valued at 12 billion Indian dollars right now, and there's an annual steady growth rate of 25 to 30%. And by 2028, they think, yeah, the projection says, or the statics say, that it can go up to 28 billion dollars. So that is the market size that we're talking about. Talking about a few competition, there are actually 17 competitors in the space because everybody wanted to jump into the bandwagon of getting high value marketing campaigns under them, because it's a 10 to 15% or 20% at times marketing budget that they can from the marketing budget that they can cash. But the only underdog player that I feel that is in the Indian market is Opa, which is completely bootstrapped and based out of Mumbai, and they're doing really good from the past 3 years, and they're growing really well. And apart from that, I feel Good Creators, where I've met the the founder personally and discussed. He's a pretty good player when it comes to the competition. And the other players are not in the same thought and line of thought and in the same sector as we are, because they're all trying only to get to the tier 1 companies like ITC, Lakme, these D2C brands who have large marketing budgets, because it's the same management cost which is involved. But our primary focus to jab into the market is to go as a open source model, like in a marketplace way, like Fiverr or Upwork, which will be two-sided, where the supply will eventually grow the demand. But we want to take the approach of DoorDash and use it, test it out first in Bangalore, and then see how it can go to the metropolitan cities, then later to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So this is the competition scenario in the Indian market right now. Obviously, while talking about a pitch deck, we cannot avoid the business model and how it is going to make money. I think that the moment I said that it's a marketplace, two revenue streams become really, really very obvious. That is the commission revenue model and the ad space revenue model. But I have a little bit of unique approach when it comes to the ad space revenue model, because I want to give it an approach like an elevator to these influencers, especially in the micro and nano sector, and not just an advertising space. Apart from that, we will have affiliate programs, starter packages, and also courses for these people who want to start off somewhere, which will give us a steady inflow, and more than the steady inflow, it will be working on the community building part, because the stronger the influencer community, the stronger that the rebounds on the platform as users will be, is what we believe. So that is the four commission models that we are talking about on this platform, and this is just for phase 1 and 2. For phase 3, we have two other more revenue models, but I don't want to disclose this right away because we are currently only in the market fit and MVP stage. So where we are, as I told, we are currently in the MVP and the market fit stage. And to give you some numbers on how this response is coming out, we did one initial marketing campaign that is just cold emailing, cold DMing influencers and content creators within a span of the good part is within the span of a week, and just targeting from cold emailing and cold DMing, we got 93 users who came and checked the platform, gave us a lot of valuable feedback, and out of the and the conversion rate or the response rate for that was more than 5.63%. So that was a really good response for the MVP itself. So where we now not only talking about the positive, the negative was when we wanted to go in the DM route and use other kind of extra softwares that can help us DM content creators and stuff like that. The response was really really low, so that channel of marketing we took out. So the current scenario of marketing that we have right now is founder led marketing through creating content. That is one. Two, the most innovative thing that we thought was to create a Vox Pop channel freely on Instagram for these content creators, who in turn become a community and also our first party reviewers. So that's in planning. And the last thing is, what do we need? So to be very very honest and stressing a little bit more on this slide, uh, I personally am a non-tech person who was a civil engineer who was good at project management. So my particular strength is positioning. So I positioned the firm for the MVP with my own savings of 11 lakhs to 14 lakhs. The MVP or the full 90% of the platform is completely ready. Uh, I positioned the marketer. I positioned another sales member, but the team that is there right now is not somebody who is well versed with the product space. So they do not have hands-on experience with how a product has to be relaunched multiple times. Are we wasting any time on any other feature, stuff like that. So basically, first thing is we need a gray hair who is in the product space, who can at least validate our ideas. Otherwise it's just two people or three people sitting in a room who's just brainstorming ideas and trying to work out with a very slim bootstrap model. uh, that's one of the thing that we need. The second thing that we need is obviously resources in the operations and in the sales part, because when I'm focusing on the funding funding process, marketing and or sales and stuff like that, I need somebody on the operations part who needs to be running the show. So the way I've set the current team is currently part equity, part payment, with whatever savings I liquidated from my US salary that I worked for 5 years or 6 years. I have got it to this level. So obviously, the very obvious part is we need funding, but I'm very very honest about the funding where I don't want humongous numbers. I'm looking only for funding which is give us a runway of just 1 year to 2 years, and I also want to be fair to the investor, where I want to take it in small sections or parts, and once when we get a solid solid validification from the market and a solid market fit from the market, that is when I want to ramp up the investment size or the growth size, or the way that I want to go. That's about it from my end.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly about 15 minutes.
Yep.
Nice. Thank you, Sudhakar, for that presentation.
Yep.
Um, First thing, so if you just think about the way a process, this whole pitch process is going to go with investors, right?
Mhm.
Are you going to be in front of an investor first up, or would they ask you to send the pitch deck? What do you think?
They would ask me to send the pitch deck.
Okay, now let's look at your pitch deck, right?
Uh-huh.
Just share your screen, please.
Yes.
So remember, if you share the pitch deck, you are not talking,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh,
Now, if,
that version I have, sir. A
okay,
detailed version with 30 slides with everything written. That I have. That,
okay.
but I didn't want to
So,
put that here. Yes.
so you should do that
Okay.
irrespective, okay?
Okay.
Um, Even if I want to understand, so
Hmm.
think about it this way, a pitch in different formats, irrespective of whatever format you are looking at, right?
Okay.
It works in different ways. So there are different faculties that anybody has sitting in front of you who's going to be utilizing to grasp what is it that you are talking about.
Hmm.
And if you miss out the written content piece of it completely,
Hmm. Hmm.
then it doesn't make things easier. Might not
Okay.
make it difficult, but it doesn't make it easier.
Okay.
So the recall value of what you're putting out there,
Hmm.
that has to be higher. So I'm not saying don't put a paragraph,
Hmm.
just a few points, 2 words, 3 words, 5 words, one sentence, right?
Okay.
So that when people are looking at it, when I'm looking at all of these images, what am I
Hmm.
supposed to make of it? And when you are talking about it, for me to correlate with what you've, the pictures that you've put, right? The icons as such,
Hmm.
which point are you talking about?
Okay.
Right? So let's just say in the problem space, you have 4 pictures,
Okay.
right? But when I'm listening to you, there are few things
Mhm.
that I captured in terms of there's an educational gap, there is the process is complex,
Mhm.
there is a broken Insta DM, but I don't know how to correlate all of these things with these
Okay.
pictures,
Okay.
right? So maybe when you're talking about it, it's easy for me to get distracted. I might get a notification, someone might what might pass by. So it's easy to miss. But if the slide is there, then I can just
Hmm.
read through and understand what is this exactly, right?
So at least name them.
Yeah, so at least
Okay.
name them,
Okay.
right? Now, the space that you are talking about is unorganized, sure.
Hmm.
Um, but 2, 3 things that I want to understand more in detail. And again, I mean, if there was something
Yes.
written, it would have been easier for me to sort of
Yes, yes.
get a
I'm
grip
just
of
trying to
these.
pull. I'm just trying to pull the detailed version, which I usually send to, you know. So this is the detailed version that I always send,
Okay.
but to VC firms, private equity, and stuff like that. So I have the entire thing of the competitors, device distribution, age distribution, market size, market opportunity, the competitive advantages of the time right now. What exactly is the problem that we have to,
Yeah.
we are
So
addressing?
let's look at these. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
sir.
just zoom in a bit. I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
able to see exactly what's there. It's too small.
Can you see it right now? So the competitor analysis and their traffic analysis, the what kind of
So
device distribution is.
see, all of these things are fine. Let's go to a problem statement first.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So this structure needs to be problem and solution. So you sort
Mhm.
of have to present something that attracts me first, because the
Yes.
rest of the slides that you have up top, right, in this
Mhm.
presentation at least,
Mhm.
they're added information for me.
Okay.
So, okay, so look at the problems. You're talking about 3 problems here: agency domination, education gap, and I don't know what new kid on the block is.
Yeah, it means to say that the marketplace model in this thing will be like a new kid in the block.
How's
So
that a
every
problem?
so the problem with that is it can easily be replicated with the existing players. That's the 17 competitors that I said,
So
right?
that's a
So
problem for you,
that's a problem for us. Yes, yes.
but that's
That's
not the objective.
yeah. I
Right?
completely
The
yeah.
objective is for you to identify between the creators and the businesses
Mm-hmm.
what is the problem,
Uh-huh.
right?
The
When you talk, and see, I've worked in the marketing space extensively,
mm-hmm.
and working with influencers is not that difficult actually. I
No.
have worked with so many. You mentioned one thing that the Insta DMs could be broken. It goes to
Mm-hmm.
request service and whatnot, right?
Uh-huh.
But is that really a problem? Because, and how big? So when you're talking about problems, problems are
Mm-hmm.
not just to say that it's a perception problem, right?
Yes.
You perceive it to be a problem. What is
Yes.
the quantification? You have
Right.
spoken to so many people. Did you
Correct.
ask them how many people did you reach out to? How many of them responded? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, for me to incite a response from you, let's say you
Mm-hmm.
are the content creator, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
I have to incite a response from you. Then what
Mm-hmm.
is it going to take? If I just tell you, hey boss, can you help me with this? You might
Uh-huh.
not respond. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
just about the person, it's not just about the going to some place or etc. It's
Mm-hmm.
also about what is it that you're initiating, how is it that you're initiating, what is the verbiage of the content that you're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've worked extensively with a lot of agencies as well, right?
Okay.
What they do is they maintain that relationship with the influencers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And any business, when they get in touch with the agencies, what
Mm-hmm.
they are making sure is that you get that face time upfront.
Yes.
So when you talk about the educational gap
Mm-hmm.
or the, let's just go to the problem again.
Yes.
So agency domination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it from a point of view of what are the needs, demands, aspirations, fears of content creators as well as
Mm-hmm.
businesses,
Yes.
right? And that's the tricky part, especially
Yes.
in this particular sector. So I would, at least in my opinion, the
Mm.
entire problem space needs to be re-looked at, because
Uh,
I didn't get the impression that
mm-hmm.
these are real problems and what is the impact of these problems. If you want to tell me, so let me just complete my thought process and then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
So if you have to think about the impact of the problem and you were to tell me that the turnaround time for any business to go from looking for an influencers to actually putting content out there
Mm-hmm.
is a month, and
Mm-hmm.
as a solution we are bringing it down to say 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
then that makes sense to me, because 1 month is business loss for me if I'm not doing this particular exercise,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm trying to quantify the problem space statement, not just have a perceptual problem, but also the impact of the problem of how is it affecting the business. It could
Yep.
also be that the content creator, something that you mentioned, they do not have a steady pipeline of business,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a real problem.
Yep.
Now, when you talk about the solution, that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
hear you say, how are you going to create that real problem? So the second piece of it was, what is your GTM? What is your business pipeline going to look like? How are you going to create that steady pipeline for them? That I
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear from solution perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you wanted to say something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you so much, and wonderful questions actually. So before we even stated that this is as a problem, we spoke the lit school, right, in Jayanagar. We spoke to 50 influencers in each category. That is nano, micro, mega. So with our exposure that we have about marketing, about marketing agencies, and we actually know what to at least demand from our marketing activities, we are talking only about a mere, let's say at a high level, 10% of companies or individuals who are looking to engage with these mid-tier and top-tier influencers, who know what to ask from a marketing agency to say, I need this kind of influencer, I need this kind of content, and this is how I'm going to use it. But when we talk about the tier 2 and tier 3 companies, and also on the creator space, when we talk about the nano, micro, and the mid level influencers, people like I have interviews, written interviews that we took from them, that we spoke and we asked questions about what problems they face. The first major problem was discoverability itself. like uh,
Discoverability of what?
of the influencer itself. Because I stay in Banargata Road. We have I have a hotel right opposite to me called Namana Garden. I went to him, and he's a third generation hotel who's making at least 4 to 5 lakhs of business every month. And I asked him, like, if you want to grow your business, you say you want to grow your business, you want people to talk about it. Do you know where to find the right kind of influences in and around? He's like, illa, nang gottilla. I don't
Hmm.
know. Right? So this is the untapped market on the business side. I'm
So
just talking about one of the 50 interviews that we spoke,
I
right?
get it, but don't you think that's a leading question in the first place? Growing business is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you want to grow a business? What is the thought that they have put into this in the first place?
Great, great,
Right?
great thing. So talking to this kind of tier two and tier three, businesses, the whole wave of people throwing in money into SEO, PPC, digital marketing, it's the agency game has become just so many in every road that people are not ready to trust digital marketing agencies just like that, or they've lost money in many cases without knowing what it is.
So let's take a pause. So the
Mm-hmm.
things that you're mentioning, look at the keywords, trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are a new player in the market.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that you are going to incite that same trust? Second thing,
Exactly. Yep.
second thing is that when you're looking at these digital marketing agencies, there are some
Mhm.
really good ones that I know of who have
Yeah,
really
yeah.
created value, right?
Yep.
Uh, but think about it this way,
Hmm.
when you're talking about all of these agencies, everybody, see, marketing and tech are two things that everybody gets into these days, right? Because they
True.
see that as a good freelancing opportunity. It doesn't matter whether you have the business acumen, understanding of how marketing works or not, you get into it. But you
True.
don't know how to create the ROS or ROI out of this particular entire section,
Great.
right?
Great question. Yes.
So these are two major problems that at
Yep.
that when you're running a business, and especially the kind of business that you're talking about, these are SMBs,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? These are not your
Yep.
corporate giants, the ITCs of the world, right? That,
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
mentioned about. They
Yep.
know these things,
Yes.
but these guys don't.
Yep.
So the problem of discoverability is there, but before that, there is an additional layer of problem, which is
Mm-hmm.
to say that do you even know these things? Awareness about the marketing metrics, that's a
Yep.
bigger problem.
Yep.
If I know
More.
that, then I can take it to the next level.
That's a great point that you mentioned. So the way, like, do you understand Kannada
Not
with
really.
not really. So the
Okay.
way the interview went with few of the business owners is
Hmm.
they know that they all have Instagram on their
Hmm.
phones, they all
Hmm.
have share chat on their phones, but they don't know how to put that to a marketing agency saying that I need influencers to create this kind of content for me about my business. But in Kannada or Hindi, they're like, yeah, like, char video bana liya or dal diya, or uska business, like he's talking about his competitor, right? Char video bana liya koi aake, or uska business, like, it's going off the roof. Okay, and mine, I'm not getting anything. The thing is, they all know that, they're all exposed to these platforms. They all know that, some kind of creation of content will be helpful for their business, but it's our duty how to, get it out to them. So but I asked the same person who didn't know what was, marketing, influencer marketing and all of that. He said, I don't understand all of this. But he has, they use Facebook marketplace, they use OLX, they use, other marketplaces which is here, like bike deco, car deco and all of that. They're able to do that with other platforms. But why can't we get them a web app or something in their phone which is accessible, which will actually show them just like profiles like shadi.com, like, or Fiverr or Upwork, which will show them saying that, hey, I have 10 people who are ready to create content on food. Like, he can use it in any way, right?
Sure.
And
So,
and that will be our pre-sales and sales person's work. And
sure.
obviously our marketing campaigns should have a section for awareness, should have a section for, pre-sales, or, at least lead generation, and then go about it, right?
So tell me this, you don't come from a marketing background, right? If I
Yes.
were to ask you, let's just say, how are you going to do a backlinking for SEO?
Mm-hmm.
Or if I were to ask you in terms of optimizing my Facebook ad campaign or Meta ad campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to talk about the technical details, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
educate me why month on month you are not able to give me the growth that I want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So many marketing agencies, they just go about doing a lot of different chatter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But where I'm struggling with is that you don't have that background in the first place. How all you are doing is you are presenting the marketplace, but from that perspective, there is nothing that you've covered in your GTM.
No, so I'm not even talking about the GTM. I'm talking about the MVP being the current stage right now. To be very very frank, is the MVP is completed, the MVP is completed, and we are in the market fit stage. And there is a person from Clantroff that I have positioned who will act as the CMO, that is for marketing. He runs his own marketing agency and he is the marketing head. There's a tech guy called Intelli Spiders who owns half equity, half paid from my end, who did the MVP, who will run the platform, who will take care of the maintenance and stuff like that. So I'm basically the positioner. I'm
I,
basically the
I
positioner
don't
of.
I don't understand what that means.
So let's say, I think I should rephrase the word from positioner to the executionist. I'm the executionist.
So you are the connector as such, if I'm
Yes,
understanding that
I'm the
correctly.
one who's collecting the team and making this, making these
So
pockets of voice
you are doing the
work.
project management piece of it, finding the right resource and putting them in place.
Yes,
That's what you are
yes,
doing.
yes.
Okay, but you are not executing on as an individual.
Mm-hmm,
You're not, apart from this project management aspect of it, you don't bring anything else to the table, whether
mm-hmm,
be it in terms of having that marketing or GTM experience to be able to reach out to the person or the
mm-hmm,
businesses. That's
mm-hmm.
something that you can potentially do. You are doing as well.
Yep,
But there is an entire skill set involved there as well in terms of conversion. And
completely.
then there is an entire angle to it with respect to the marketing itself, right?
Yep, completely
For
agree.
all of these business and connecting with influencers and whatnot, right?
Yep, yep.
So if I were to ask you, what does your cap table look like?
So that's a great question. So right now, the where I said, where what do we need? When I said I need, resources, I filled the tech side of it, I filled the marketing side of it, and I filled the I'm sorry, the maintenance part of it. I need to fill in the shoes of a sales executive, and I have to fill in the shoes of a what do you call, as an operation head. This is the team. That's when the team becomes completely full. That's on the execution side. When I'm talking about the market size, okay, the average tickets value that I'm seeing, which is happening from the interviews and everything when it comes to an influencer marketing campaign, is 2K in a mid-sized business for one reel. 2K to, for one reel, it keeps going up. For a 30-second to 60-second thing, it keeps going up to, like 34,000 to a lakh, depending on the size of the influencer. So the way that we are projecting this right now is we need to test at least 100 cases at a value of, 2K, 5K, 10K, and 50K, and then get the responses back from them. And then what kind of assisted services will they need from the company, from the platforms assisted services, that is the firms. Once we have these, missing parts involved, then we'll be able to give an exact, customer acquisition cost, what will be the projection, how can it go
No,
about,
no.
and what can
So
it be
my
valued.
question was, what is your cap table like? I mean, what is your equity distribution like within this
oh
team?
e- oh, okay, in the team. So there's 10% on the tech, there's 10% on the marketing side, and I've kept around, like 35 to 40% for just scaling, nothing untouched. The only equity
What?
which is taken out is the only equity which is distributed to others is 20%.
Okay. So that means the rest of the 80% is with you as of now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. But if I understand this correctly,
Uh-huh.
and please pardon me if I'm being too rude, okay?
No, no,
But
please, please be.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is going to go to a public platform. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you want, maybe we can connect separately, right?
Sure,
And I
sure.
can probably talk about this in more depth, right?
Mm-hmm,
But then think about this. When you look at the entire execution of whatever you are trying to build,
mm-hmm.
everybody who's coming in, they can just take this, go and build it separately for themselves. There's nothing you can
True,
do.
true.
And any of these agencies that you're talking about from a competitive point of view, what you've shown me is that the revenue growth that they have had or the revenue angle of it.
Mm-hmm,
But then how are you differentiating yourself?
mm-hmm,
Any of these guys, let's just assume that you are able to build this platform and you're able to get some customers and whatnot, right?
mm-hmm.
Any of these guys can go ahead and tomorrow build a tech project of the same sort.
Yep.
They will have probably have better capital flow for themselves,
Yep.
considering they are relatively more mature in their journey in this particular space. They can do the exact same thing and put it out there, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what is the differentiator that you are bringing? And again, my understanding in terms of understanding what is it that you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still struggling to find out why is it that you're not emphasizing on the GTM? Why is it that you're not talking about the GTM at all? Because this is a
Because
pure
they
play
do.
execution business.
I wouldn't say it's a pure play, at least in my understanding, I wouldn't say it's just
Sure.
a pure play execution because business, because for the execution, you either need bandwidth when it comes to, resources or money, right?
Not really. I
Either.
mean, see, yes, to a certain extent, but think about it. That's why we have strategies in place, right? That
Mm-hmm.
is where GTM is a strategy that you have to put in place. There
Yep.
are two things that, let's just say I have to tomorrow acquire 100 customers for
Mm-hmm.
my company. We must collab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can just throw a salesperson at it and say that, okay, boss, go ahead and talk to these 100 guys. I'll create a list. Go ahead and talk to these 100 guys. That's one way
Yep.
of doing it.
Yep.
Another way of doing it could be that for me to identify a particular segment, let's say I want to target only smaller chain hotels,
Mm-hmm.
okay, who are rated 3 stars. So I
Mm-hmm.
create a specific persona that I want to target,
Mm-hmm.
and then I talk to someone who knows at least 20 of these guys, and I
Mm-hmm.
say, go ahead and introduce me. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of having a cold sales call going on, I can have a warm introduction with these guys. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, instead of finding these 20 people, my strategy could be that I'm finding this one person who is deeply connected into this ecosystem and he
Mm-hmm.
can introduce me to 20 people. That's a
Correct.
much easier strategy. So it's
Correct.
my bandwidth, time, money, and all of those things that were supposed to be spent on 20 are now
Mm-hmm.
spent on one. The rest of the
Mm-hmm.
process becomes much easier because it's a warm lead.
How do you link how do you link that person to your firm then?
You don't. That's a connector.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So that's why I'm saying that, see, when you talk about all of these things, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be that person has to be with your company. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow you talk to me and say that, hey, boss, here is the thing that I have a product market fit and I have everything and I have, 1,000 customers and I'm generating, say, 1 year of revenue. I want you to connect me to certain investors,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can go ahead and do that. You don't have to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
can reach out to 100 investors yourself in a cold way. That's fine. But I
Yeah.
can do that as well. So I don't need to be working in your company, with your company in any capacity. We just need to have a relationship
Mm-hmm.
so that I can do that exercise for you.
Mm-hmm. But the GTM that you're talking about is because you already are in the product space and in the tech space, right?
Right.
Right. But when it is still in the MVP stage and we are just testing it out, there's only so many GTM strategies or ways that we can do, right? That could be either content, cold prospecting, warm prospecting, and reaching out, right?
See, that's what I'm saying, that you didn't speak about the GTM at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't go into the GTM or the execution part because this
And
was. Yeah, please go ahead.
and that's why, see, when I'm saying this is an execution business, is that you have to
Hmm.
understand that before looking to get into touch with the businesses and the influencers, right?
Hmm.
First
That
thing you
was
need to,
market feedback.
sure,
Hmm. Hmm.
but you need to do that for yourself as well.
Yes.
You need to build that brand for yourself first before
Hmm.
people can come and say that, why should I trust you in front of an established agency like, say, let's just say Ogilvy tomorrow does influencer marketing and they venture into it, right?
Hmm.
Why would I prefer you over Ogilvy?
Hmm.
Or
So So,
Yeah.
firstly, with the 17 competitors that we're talking about, nobody is using the transparent marketplace model itself.
So,
Let's be
okay, these are
let's be very
words. I
no no
understand, Sudhakar. See, these are words. When you define transparent, what
hmm
does transparent mean? That's not
no no
reflected in the conversation or the pitch deck. If you're
okay
telling me that someone is, let's say, as an agency, I'm charging the business 1 lakh rupees, but I'm only paying the influencers, say 50,000 rupees.
yep
If that's the definition of transparency,
yep
then you have to specify that in this is a financial transaction which is not transparent.
yep yep and also the scope of work, number of revisions, the
That's
money which is
okay.
getting money which is getting transferred.
Any good agency would do that. See, and that's why I said there are
Mhm.
way too many agencies doing this.
Yep.
But any good agency would first strike down on the sow
hmm
and then take it from there, right?
True. True, but why are we? I'm still not trying to understand why are we only comparing the a platform to an agency, because the
Because,
and because
go ahead,
because,
go.
because we noticed a campaign from a jeans manufacturing company where almost 12 influencers who were involved were only paid approximately 30 to 40K, but the company which was charged 4.5 lakhs. It was from a talent management agency.
Okay.
So who got the value? Was it the guy who created the content? Was it the jeans manufacturing company which actually shelled for 4.5 lakhs? What if there is a platform? And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel at all here. All I'm trying to say is this is a running profitable model which is already doing well in the North American and Canadian market by firms that I've showed as competitors. Okay. Let's take it this way. 25 years back, somebody saw McDonald's and told that if we put it in India, it'll work out. But there was an Indian head who said that you cannot put beef patties and it has to be Mekalu Tikki and it has to be priced at $25. Right? So that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm
Understood.
I Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. That's what Oyo did, that's what Udan did, that's what Flipkart did, everybody did,
See,
right?
these are all aggregator models that you're looking at,
hmm
right?
Yep.
Now, think about it this way. There is an entire ecosystem. The
hmm
part that you're focusing on is one part that is easily replicable. When
Replicable in what
you,
way?
let's just say that the marketplace that you're bringing in, right?
hmm
Any agency who already has a base of, say, 1,000 influencers,
hmm
they can do it themselves,
Yep.
right? Now, think about it this way. Let's just say that if what's a good example? Let's say if you are a search engine, right?
Mhm.
You know the whole Google example and
Yeah,
whatnot,
yeah, yeah.
right? So if you are the first search engine, second search engine, third search engine, fourth search engine, whatever, right? Till whatever, say 15, 20 search engines, everybody was able to replicate and achieve the same thing,
True,
right? It's only until Google came up with a certain level of innovation, indexing, and whatnot,
true,
they were not able to differentiate,
true,
right? And that's why
true,
they took off.
true,
So if the first guy was able to do this, or rather, the fifth guy was able to do the exact same thing as the first guy, the 15th guy was able to do the exact same thing as the fifth guy, then
And
sure you can survive. You can,
no, it's also about who caught the market first, right there.
doesn't
It's
matter because at the end
okay.
of the day, think about it this way. That's why this is a good example that the first
hmm
15, 20 guys who came into the search engine space,
hmm
they were early there,
hmm
but they did not have the market share later
hmm
on.
hmm
Simple reason because they did not have anything differentiating them.
hmm
And the eventual performance of it
hmm
was not better than what Google was offering,
Yep. It was
right?
the support. It was the support that they got. Yep.
Right. So first entry is good, but then you
hmm
have to also come at it from a perspective of evolution.
True.
You can get inserted into a market very easily. That's not a problem.
hmm
But to make a business out of a product,
hmm
that's the difficult part. What
Yep.
is it that you're going to do that will differentiate and make sure that We Must Collab stands out, and even if someone wants to replicate it, it will take them 2 years to replicate you. So you
So
get that 2 years runway.
talking about the tech side, just for the MVP that we have created on PHP, Laravel, and React.js or whatever it is, it's a full-fledged firm which actually made the MVP. It took them 11 months to create the entire flow.
Hmm.
Okay, and it costed around 14 lakhs. So that's just on the tech side. And talking about the market side, all the competitors that we are talking about, you're basically asking what's your unique selling points that will make you stand out, right? If I'm understanding that correctly, which
Sure.
will which will make you stand out. Everybody is getting into the space of campaign management. All the competitors that I told you, the 17 guys, they're going into the campaign management part, right? But we are not in the campaign management part. We are in the DIY model. We are in the simplification model of it.
I get that.
That is the first thing. The first thing is it has to be so easy to use that a campaign can be set up by any individual or any layman who wants to grow his business or connect with a platform. I'm sorry, an influencer. That is the
Sure.
first thing. The second thing, they don't have internal ad spaces, okay, for community building, but we will have internal ad spaces. That's another whole different revenue stream and feature that we have in phase 2. The
So,
third thing
okay.
that,
Sorry. In the interest of time, right? I have only 10 minutes left.
yeah,
So just do a quick Google search, influencer marketing platforms in India.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You will
yeah,
find Upfluence,
yeah,
Grinow,
Confluence,
Clear,
yeah, I've checked all of them.
so
Yes.
many of these guys, right?
Yep.
So that's where I'm trying to figure out that when you look at this particular business, right,
Mm-hmm.
you can create a platform, not saying that you can't. You
Mm-hmm.
might even get some traction. That's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fine as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the long run, if someone were to put money into your business,
Mm-hmm.
right, why should I choose you over someone like Upfluence?
Because we both are two different businesses. Upfluence, Cofluence, Confluencer, and everybody are focusing on the campaign management part. OPA is the only one who's taking care of even the delivery of the UGC content and
Okay.
the things that is needed for the product placement. That is why
So
OPA is sustaining as a bootstrap model.
So let me
So,
ask you this question. Let's just say that you have ten influencers on your platform, and then there are, let's say, 10 more businesses, right?
mhm, mhm,
All you're doing is introducing them and
mhm,
you're charging a certain commission and whatnot, right?
mhm,
Now, if the business is not able to get that revenue
mhm,
or that value out of
mhm,
what the introduction you did, right?
mhm, mhm.
They're going to do it once, they're going to do it twice.
I think I
So,
should. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
so I understand that you are doing the aggregator model.
Mhm,
But for you to sustain
mhm,
the eventual outcome for the business,
mhm,
that has to be there.
mhm.
Content and campaign is the king here.
Yes, the
Introduction
inside.
is
Yep,
introduction is just one way of doing
yep,
things through your platform.
yep.
But if that guy reaches out to anyone and says that, what that's why word of mouth works very heavily. If
True.
I can give one, I have three agencies right now that I'm a super fan of, and if someone asks me, I'll redirect it to them because
Mm-hmm,
I know that they have given me those kind of results. I know so many other people who have achieved results out of them,
mm-hmm.
right? So
But
your
but what if
introduction is, go ahead.
but what if you can get the same kind of agency service for lower commission models, and it's on a transparent platform way? How would you like that as a business owner? With your example itself, you had three favorite agencies. One
Sure,
charges 10%, one charges 20%, one charges 15% because it's not standardized at all,
sure.
right? You don't know what the rates of the influencers are for a reel, for the content, nothing. You're
Hmm.
just okay because it is coming under your marketing budget, right? But what if I say that, okay, fine, I don't want to go through an agency. I'm a small business. I'm just a civil engineer who's doing one project. I want to connect with 10 influencers without an agency, know what their rates are, talk to them, tell what I want, and I want to get it out. If this platform acts as an enabler to initiate that conversation, give them the a requirement, and get the work done with the quality check and make me pay less. Why won't a small business owner or an individual who wants to grow his business or his reach not use it? That's
They
my
will. They will.
that's my biggest like approach.
Sure, sure.
And the comparison of affluence I have the entire list of people on their quarters, who's funded, not funded, of people in the space,
Hmm.
right? Everybody is into the campaign management part, the assisted service part. Nobody is giving us a free discovery tool without even paying a subscription package, right?
Sure, sure.
Right, all of those examples. But what I'm trying to say is, why should a customer or an individual come is first is his rates are transparent, his money is going to be secure in an escrow model way, I'm going to be paying lower commission models, and and everything is on my choice. If I go to these three agencies, he can maximum give me 50 profiles of what
Sure,
he is having good connections with.
sure,
But maybe there are new faces out. Like if we go to Instagram right now and say, give me influencers near me under 5,000 followers, it's not going to give us. It's not a search engine. If we go type it on Google, it's not going to give us. If we go to Upfluence, if we go to Cofluencer, if we go to Opa, if we go to anyone, I have personally paid for their subscription packages and used all of them as test cases. I have their flows as a complete PDF. But everybody is only focusing on tier 1 companies, where the first question they ask is, what's the marketing budget? Under 1 lakh, over 1 lakh, and then immediately you get a call from them saying, hey, I can give you selected profiles, select from them, go from it, we take so much commission.
sure,
I'm okay even to say, hey, I run a small Golgappa store. I want one influencer to come and do a reel for me for $1,000, and he's going to pay me 15% of that or 10% of that as a platform fee. He's happy, the platform's happy, the business is happy, the influencer is happy. So I'm just trying to understand what more can I offer as a unique selling point, because I respect that question. But I've done the R&D for what can set apart from the existing players. But what more, as an industry expert who's been in the tech marketing and product space, can you guide me into? Like, I'm just asking a point of direction where I can like work on it.
sure. So that's a much bigger discussion. I have only 5 minutes left.
Hmm.
So let's connect offline and
Sure,
then we can talk more about that. Okay.
sure.
But some things that I would certainly suggest, focus more on GTM for yourself as well. Okay.
Yep,
Before you help someone else, you need to figure out how you are going to become better at doing what you're doing and onboarding more people, right?
yep.
Um, your MVP is ready, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
I can
So you're
send you
already
those.
out there in the market looking at
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
onboard influencers. How many influencers you have in the on your
We have
platform?
we have 93 influencers right now, and
And
it
how many
just
businesses?
we businesses side we haven't started reaching out yet.
Okay.
It just got done. The phase one just got done 2 weeks back, and then we ran these cold emailing and stuff out. We got the interviews done. We got some changes which we'll be doing on phase two. So what I'm trying, like, one of the main helps that I'll need also is on the GTM, because since it's bootstrap, and just a Six Sigma consultant asked me 80,000 rupees per month, and I'm not in that kind of bandwidth right now, to get me a lean GTM. So if we can talk about more organic ways of going into GTM, or going into more lean ways where we can get the reserve funds multiplied, and then we can like use that to grow the firm. I'm open for that discussion. Yes.
Sure, we can have that discussion. That's not a problem at all.
Yep. Yep.
But relook at the pitch deck and understand the eventual outcome, not to interact, but to the business itself. Okay. So if
Okay.
you're if I'm a company trying to reach out to influencers, I might have five different mechanisms through which I could do that, right? But eventually I will zone in and close on over a period of time. I will only close on the person or the platform or the whatever medium who's making me an ROI better than
Yes.
everybody else.
Yes.
So my North
Completely.
Star metric is the ROI that a business gets out of it on one side and the steady pipeline that an influencer gets on the other side,
Yep.
right? How I get there, that's the execution piece of it.
That's the execution part. So for the ROI, yes, we do have a Caesar AI model and all of that insights. What kind of impressions that every competitor that you told gives just a dashboard, right? They give a
Okay.
dashboard. That's it. But we have something similar, but that's for phase three. We have something
Okay.
similar, but that's for phase three. But for the study pipeline, we are still studying the market on that part, because we don't know if we have to give the platform as a SaaS part, if we have to give it as an open part for the company side. We don't know that yet. We are in the process of figuring it out. So if
Okay.
we can get some insights on how we can go about it, that'll be great too.
Sure, sure. I mean, let's meet offline. I
Yes.
really need to go now, but let's
Sure,
meet
sure,
offline and
sure.
then we can talk more. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate the time.
No
Thank you
problem
so
at
much.
all. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the pitch.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Raghav,
Yep.
over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Amiya, and thank you, Sudhakar, for presenting the pitch.
Yep.
I do
Thank
want
you.
to as Amiya is leaving, like we have some more time, maybe like for 5 minutes, we can have questions or something like that from the people who are participating.
Oh yes. I guess nobody
If nothing
wants to.
else, then I do have one question though. Like, so see, when you're talking about like this being an open platform, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Transparency is a feature, but also with that, privacy is also a requirement in a lot of cases. Like, a
Yes.
lot of people,
Yes.
especially brands, I don't want anybody knowing that this influencer that I used is having a public profile and his rates are visible and all this stuff, so that like that
Mhm.
reveals something about me as a brand who's using this person. And
I
and also, if,
Okay.
if if for example, let's say that my brand is coming up in this person's content, let's say is an Instagram account,
Mhm.
and it turns out that this person is also visible publicly on your platform.
Mhm.
Now I can tell that somebody used your platform to get them as a client, and it tells you, like, something about like your internal mechanics, if you're looking at it very closely.
I would beg to disagree on that front, Raghav, because if
Okay.
that is the case, IZEA would have never become a public company. They use
What is
the
that?
same marketplace. IZEA would have never
Okay.
become a public company. They're called like the forefathers of Instagram marketing. They became a public company and valued at 40 million with the same marketplace model in the States.
No, but it's not a
Um,
transparent one, that like the one that you have. They
No,
have.
it is
Okay.
exactly the open marketplace. I'm literally trying to just Indianize what's already working and profitable in US and Canada. The
Okay.
rates, the way the transaction has to happen, the flow, everything. So
So
it
you're saying that it's not an impediment. Okay. I was
it's
just like
it's
it's a thought
it's not
experiment. I mean, I'm
it's
not just
not
thinking.
it's not because every people buy from people now. it's
Mhm,
it's it's like that. So if everybody knows that an influencer, that's why the Instagram itself is coming out with the marketplace model.
mhm.
Instagram itself is like TikTok, it's coming with its marketplace, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, why would one of the Fang or Mang company try to do the
Mhm.
marketplace model?
Right. Also, somebody
Yeah.
asked a question about, like, could somebody please share the name that Amiya was talking about? OVV, what is that? There was another platform
I
that you guys were talking about.
OPA
Okay.
OPA
OPA. Okay. And
OPA.
also, somebody else had a question. Did anybody else have a question?
I was just going to add, this is Sunil here, on the
Mhm.
privacy part. I think as long as the commercials are private to the customers who are consuming the content, I think that's good enough. I think the businesses will at the back end know, like, even if we talk about, say, if we talk about the likes of, say, MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli, we get a sense of how much they will charge, but a customer wouldn't need to know that.
Yeah.
So the visibility of the whoever has signed up as a influencer, the visibility will help my understanding. So the businesses can see the influencers and the influencers can see the businesses and they can't see each other. Like we can't see others. Let's say I'm an influencer. I not necessarily need to see the other influencers, right?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm asking, like, if we talk about, say, a dating profile, and I sign up as a male, I don't see other males. I only see the females. I'm just taking a random example. Will it work the
Yep.
same way, or is it different?
So for your question, it is the influencer profiles and their rates is going to be out there. The what businesses are they involved in? What kind of campaigns are they getting involved in? Are other businesses seeing it? No, that's not going to be the case. Did that answer your question?
Partially, yes. Yes, but I think, yeah, if that is the case, on the privacy front, like if my assumption, I probably did not get the complete answer, but if the influencers cannot see the rest of the influencers, or let's say the consumers, the primary audience for whom the content is intended to, if they are not seeing the information, I think that's good enough, is what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The company information and the campaign information is not going to be open source. Only the profile and the rates is going to be open source.
the price. Okay.
Yeah. Not what actually happened in the campaign. That's not going to be open source at all.
Okay. All right. I think that's about how much time we have for this. Thanks a lot, Sudhakar, for joining in.
Yep. Thanks, Raghav, for the opportunity.
And a recording of this will be present in the YouTube channel. You can find the links on our official website, thestartupclub.info. And also, if you are interested in presenting your startup in a pitch like this, where you can get it reviewed by Amiya, please fill out the form on our official website, thestartupclub.info. There's a pitch registration form. If you fill that out, I'll contact you and we can set up a schedule and we can take it forward. We're looking for companies that are very close to launching or already launched, that are looking for some kind of scaling. So that is a target sweet spot for us to get the founders in. So if you are working on a company like that, or a product like that, or you know somebody, please share the information so that we can have that reviewed, and that will help us all understand how to approach our own pitching, right? So that's the aim of the pitch workshops. So we will have this on a monthly basis. Please find the event information in the meetup as well. The link to that also is in the official website, thestartupclub.info. Thanks a lot for joining. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Thank you.